Right, on a roll with these now, so I'm going to do probably at least one more today, I don't know. But these are therapeutic, like I keep saying, and this is kind of part of the ongoing therapy. I'll move that straight. Excuse me. No, I can't lie down. Why am I knackered? But like I'm doing this one because like the sort of part of the I'm going to make a video about that process that led to my first video this morning was looking at the schizophrenic stuff, but the movement disorders. So again, I'm not claiming to have schizophrenia. I really fucking hope I haven't. No, I really fucking hope I'm not developing it. But it's this. It's normal sometimes, just that. Fucking annoying, isn't it, to sit next to? But sometimes it happens and I don't know, and I'm doing it at a bus stop going. And then I realise people are sort of going, or people go, excuse me, can you stop banging your legs, please? I've had that sort of, well, fuck, sorry. But what do you think? What do you always instantmatically think when you see me doing that? He's anxious, he's scared, whatever. And sometimes you're right. And that's the fucking annoying thing. Sometimes I am anxious. Sometimes I'm happy. Sometimes I'm thinking. Sometimes it's the energy coming out. And the energy has to come out. The energy will come out. The energy always comes out. The energy is come outable temporarily. So if you stop the energy coming out, I am no longer fucking responsible for how it will. It's basically the way my fucking life is. It's been one of my biggest kind of misinterpretables over the years, because I've had like people insisting that I'm anxious when I'm not. And then I start getting pissy, because anyone does. And remember, you know, chicken and egg. I've got fucking pathological signs of someone who has trouble interpreting the world around them. And when you already know that, and then you get people coming up and telling you, no, you are anxious. What the fuck? You're telling me what's going on in here? You're telling me what's going on in here. I'm in here. I'm in here. You're not in here. Especially when they're wrong. But it is, I mean, it summarised it as movement disorders. And then I started looking up movement disorders. And there's tremor, and but I don't think it's that. There's tremor and essential tremor, but I don't think they're that. They are characterised by involuntary jerks of muscle groups, and some like the one that I do. Yeah, the one I'm doing now with my foot. My foot is just waggling side to side, but that's voluntary agonists. That's concentric. The muscles are firing. They're not pushing against something. They're yanking. And they're not lowering against gravity. This is supported against gravity. There's loads and loads and loads of movement disorders, was my point. And I'm not quite sure which one waggling leg foot syndrome is. Not because I wrote a status the other morning about wiggly fingers syndrome, because I had it. I was just, I wanted to do that. It was just horrible. Like if you ever get the full-on version of restless leg syndrome, which I've only had, by the way, since I came off fucking morphine. I used to get it years ago. For years and years and years, I got it around going to sleep, and I've always done it during the day or when I'm talking and stuff. But I mean, as soon as you get to bed at night and you feel sleepy, that's when you get the feeling. That's what I understand restless leg syndrome to be. And I noticed it massively, and I thought, of course, I've just come off morphine. Fair enough. I've got a little detox to cope with, and here I am, weeks and weeks and weeks later, and I still get it at night. But I was woken up. It was a full moon, and the schizotypal believes himself to have a sixth sense and magical connections to the cosmos. So it's probably the full moon. But it was I wanted to just write loads of emails. But it was the same feeling, but all up here, and it was just as much of a thing to make you go, and want to rip your fingers off, as it does make you want to rip your legs off. When you've got RLS, and I know people who have that nightly. I've only been having it for the last few weeks, sort of this muchedly at night. This is just normal. This is just, but that is quite Parkinsonian. I don't think it's Parkinsonian as such. I think it's one of the meds that they put people with Parkinson's on, but it's particularly the leg doing that. But to me, it's comfortable, which is what has led to me having like sort of stand-up brows with people going, "Yes, let me get you like this," and it makes you feel more comfortable because you're anxious. You know, fuck off. I'm not anxious. You might be right. Sometimes you might be right, because we all do that when we're anxious. But sometimes I just do it. I don't know. It's got the same energy as a fucking kid. And kids sit and swing their legs at the fucking table. So do I. I still fucking balance on stools and fucking fall off of them. I do. I'm rarely still. And I've always just seen that as a fucking an energy thing. It's, you know, science explains it as an ADHD thing, because I'm a tendency towards hyperactivity, and that is hyperactivity. It's activity, muscle activity. Hyper means above, more than normal. So it's muscle hyperactivity. But there's a lot of the stuff that I've just like flipped through talked about the division between the neuro side of it and the psychiatry side of it, because they're so often linked. Even in diseases like Parkinson's, there's a massive psychiatric element which gets ruled out by the field of neuroscience, even though the neuroscience is actually a manifestation of the psychiatric complication. And so, like, is that what this is? Is that what this is? Because it feels really horrible to stop doing it. And it's, you know, stopping doing it doesn't make me feel anxious mentally. It makes me feel weird legically. In a legular way. Hi. Have you been feeling motion worthy regularly recently? Listen to me. But, you know, like loads of people are like this. But a lot of the time it's just their brain doing shit. That's what I believe this to be. My brain can't work in the areas that it should be working in, so it just fires off in other fucking areas. Is the best way to make an analogy of it. It's like, well, I've got this fucking energy, I've got to put it somewhere. So if I move that leg, and then when that leg hits the pillow, I can feel the pillow hitting the leg, so all the skin receptors send me more messages to interpret. And then, yay, I'm busy. And then that cuts out the confusion in my brain, so then I can think linearly. Occasionally. That's kind of the thinking behind it, and that's why I've often thought, all right, it's a coping strategy, it's one I might need to do, and I can accept it's not very easy to be around, and so when I feel the need to do it a lot, I need to be on my own. But I can't say that to people in society, because if I say I'm difficult to be around, they go, oh, why? What's difficult to be around? I'm just because I'm constantly fucking annoying, that's why. I've had it said to me my whole damn life. I am constantly fucking annoying. I want to know the shit out of you if you spend a lot of time with me. Sorry. I just do. Just do. I make people bicker and squabble with me. Too much of me ain't good for shit. It never has been. Just always leads to rows. Just always has. And it still does. But this this doesn't help. But it does help. I have to do it a lot sometimes. So I can feel it happening stronger now as I'm getting a little bit more defensive. There is a link. I was literally felt it getting a bit fucking harder while I spoke, because I was starting to focus in on a determination of something. And that translated, my brain translated into a movement. So there is a link to it. There you go. Living science in action. The strikes of the leg became more impactive once determination was added to the thought form. Or something. Fucking wacky science. This is the sort of shit that helps, though. It's probably not going to help many other people, or maybe it will. But this is part of my acceptance of my fucking ongoing and essential weirdness in which I live. And I'm starting to care less and fucking less about that. Because it's like, I need to fucking keep well. I need to keep well, and I need to keep happy. And if I keep squashing things that make me happy, I can't be happy. This is what I found. And I got very fucking ill when I tried to be like you see. It was not me. And it made me physically ill and socially disagreeable and emotionally chaotic. Yeah, that's about the best one I can come up with. Um, so I need to do this sort of shit, and so like this is almost like a diary. This is almost like a coping strategy that you can use for yourself. Just imagine you're talking to someone who fucking adores you and really fucking cares, and everything you say they won't challenge. If you just talk about something that hurt, they would go, "Oh my god," and they'd hold your hand, your angel, he or she. Just imagine someone like that's there and just talk to the fucking wall, or your reflection, or something like that. It does help. And maybe that's the fundamentals of why these videos are helping. But they are helping. So I don't know. I don't know if this is the sort of thing people will get something from, or people will just think this is all sort of me-centered. But I'm hoping that like the shit I talk about in a graphic way sparks things off for people, things that they relate to in their lives, and people that they know, and that sort of shit. I think we can all agree that everyone needs to think differently, and everyone needs to respond differently. And people need to go, do you know what, actually, maybe I don't need to question why it's unhelpful. Why don't I just go, actually, if you say that it's unhelpful, okay, I won't say it. Or, okay, sorry, I said it. Let's move on. Rather than, no, and like fucking destroying people when they've got the wrong end of the stick. That sort of shit. You know what I mean? I'm sure you know what I mean. Anyway, that was quite a meandering fucking conclusion to this. And yeah, it's time to say goodbye. It's nearly 12 minutes.